Welcome to another episode of the Gaming Kitchen. So tonight we are in for a something which I talked about 3 months ago, and I said clearly here, word for word, that if you enjoy the game now, continue to enjoy it. If you enjoy the game and you think by you enjoying the game that you somehow are living in the clouds, thinking that the problems that happen with Stadium Creator, and they have nothing to do with you. They have nothing to do with the mode that you're in. They have nothing to do with anything. That's fine. Just understand that eventually, down the road, it will come to your doorstep, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. And you'll have no choice but to get back on YouTube and talk about the same stuff that I talked about March 14th. It is now in May. For those who follow me on live stream, I've said this before, what will happen. That all the people in the card community, the card playing community, the co-op community, and any of the other communities in which they decide to turn a blind eye to issues that happen all around the game, okay? What's going to happen is they will make video on top of video on top of video on top of video. They'll make roughly 20-some videos talking about how great the game is, how awesome the game plays. They'll make reviews, giving it a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 9, 5 out of 5, whatever. And they'll get people to go out there and buy this game. And the same people that they will get out to buy this game, they will turn around in May, in June, right near July, when NCAA Football 2026 comes out, and they're going to talk about how much this game sucks. And they're going to cope, and they're going to say a whole bunch of stuff that you heard here on my channel, that you heard on Studio 44's channel, and any of the other Stadium Builders channels in which get no love and no attention whatsoever, because as I've seen on Twitter, and as I've seen on multiple outlets, the Stadium creating community is within themselves to protect themselves. Because outside, you have a small sect of people who hate this mode, hate the fact that this mode was created, and blame this mode, okay, for creating problems in this game. I am here to tell you, this mode did not create problems in this game. SDS created problems in this game. Them wishing to milk an old, outdated game engine and game model that has been around since PlayStation 3 is what leads to problems in this game. Them placing their sole interest and their focus on cards and microtransactions and tiptoeing towards deniable plausibility into a predatory treasure box trove system like MUT and like VC, the team, and like all this other stuff, okay? That's why you have the problems you have. It's not because of Stadium Creator, okay? And it is imperative and it's important to understand how we get to this point. How we get to a point where content creators who get flown out and enjoy the game early and sing its praises are the same ones that turn right around and then say the exact same stuff that was said day one. They go to Operation Sports and talk about how Operation Sports, on the forum, people sounded people out and said, oh, I enjoy this game. This game is good. This game sucks for you. Doesn't suck for me. I enjoy the game. And if you don't, that's your problem. Bye. Those same people now are complaining because there's certain things in this game that sucks. So Stadium Creator did not just have an issue in May. Stadium Creator had an issue all the way back in March, okay? It wasn't until it was acknowledged that it would impact online mode, that it would impact Diamond Dynasty, that it would impact Road to the Show, and all the things that these YouTubers use to get a lot of clicks and views on their channel, That's when it became a big issue. SDS did not acknowledge stadium creator issues until the patch came out and until it messed up head to head. Before then, you saw no official posts. You didn't hear of any official posts. You didn't deal with any official posts. Proof's in the pudding. If anybody wishes to see, go back and check. The purpose of this video tonight is to look at certain YouTubers who are finally starting to come around. Okay? They're finally starting to come around. They're finally starting to say the things in which people in our community were saying. Stuff in which I said last year. And like I said, I don't want credit for it. I don't want a parade. I just want people to know you heard it here first. When I talked about Diamond Dynasty turning into Madden or SDS turning into EA, you heard it here first. All the people outside this circle were the ones who were denying it all the time and talking about how friendly that SDS was and how great and how good their card system and their Diamond Dynasty system is going, until it stops looking like the familiar system that you're used to. So, I'm going to respond to a video. It wasn't made to me. It was just made in general. There's this video I've been itching to look at and comment to, from Gnomes That Legend. And the title of his video is MLB The Show 25, ... It's getting bad. And this was released a day ago. It's got 44,000 views. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio through the controller or my microphone, whatever it is. And I'm going to respond back to certain things, certain questions, okay? Certain statements to tell you and even talk to Gnome through this, to let him see the light as to where things are going and why I think the way I think. So we're going to start this real soon, okay? Now that I got my preface out the way, let's hit the ground running.
Things coming into this year personally, that this game would be far less pack-oriented than the past couple, and two, that the best cards would constantly move around different areas, different aspects of the game to keep you playing everything. And yet, the best catcher in the game is locked behind a 500,000 stub collection where only rare round pack cards can be used to collect him. The second best catcher, thankfully, only costs 230,000. He's in a chick.
So you just heard him. You heard what he just said. Best catcher and all that stuff is locked behind a paywall, which you have special rare cards to unlock it. Or if you have 500,000 stubs or 230,000 stubs, you're able to purchase it. Now, within the first week of this game coming out, there were your O-Face card holders who, for better or for worse, popped up on YouTube, okay, and spent $500 worth of stubs to buy these cards, thousands of dollars to spend on these stubs. You know how those content creators get this, right? They actually spend that money made off of the revenue they make from having the followers who follow them for making this certain type of content. These types of card people who make this type of content attract a lot of people, young adults, and all that stuff. They see them use money to buy the stuff. Therefore, it reflects on the people who watch them to buy money and buy cards and stuff with money to reflect this stuff. This is how 2K fell into this trap. This is how people who love 2K fell into the trap. A long time ago, 2K was the anti-EA. EA was the one that did the microtransactions. That if you wanted to buy classic stadiums, if you wanted to play, you had to buy. If you wanted cards, you had to buy them. Long time ago, 2K, you would have to earn your VC. You created a player, you'd have to scrap, you have to hustle. You could actually belt that out and get that. Now, the same thing's happening here. It's all a part of the same plan. What they do is they use cards in which you would normally get if you hustled and earned them, and then make them unachievable only by money. But the deniable plausibility is still there.
Chase pack. As is the best shortstop in the game, he is 300,000. It didn't used to be like this. Even when chase packs were first introduced, there was a couple chase packs that would hit the game throughout the calendar year. You know, once every month and a half-ish, a new chase pack featuring a very good and expensive, mind you, card would hit Diamond Dynasty, but it never took over the game the way it is now.
So why do you think that's the case, people? Remember my streams here. When I told you what they were doing and the direction they were heading in last year, you could see it coming a mile away. Okay? They do the same exact thing that Madden does. That's how Mutt and everything started out. You buy the game, you get the game early, they give you a couple of packs. They know those cards ain't worth anything. They got crap in them. And so what they do is all the players who played on Mutt, all the players who play on my team and all that type of stuff, the players that have the best teams are the ones that spend the money. If it doesn't look like that now, give it time, because it will. Why do you think a dude on YouTube is spending $500 worth of stubs? Okay? What is he doing with that? What do you think? You think that's not going to trickle down to a kid who watches the channel? You think that's not going to trickle down to that effect? It's all connected.
Let's flash forward to today, and we are getting brand new chase packs nearly every week featuring top-end cards that consistently land at the very top at what any given content update has to offer. And look, I'll be honest, I might be issuing a hot take here. I actually thought the third inning program bosses were pretty good. I've seen the lot of criticism and pitchforks, but these are good cards for your everyday player of the game. The problem, however, is that they pale in comparison to that big fuchsia pack casting its shadow over the rest of the game. Diamond Dynasty was built and praised by being not like the others, separating itself as the player-friendly Ultimate Team mode, whereas NBA 2K, Madden, and FIFA chose to gouge their fans and pressure them into spending additional money on microtransactions in order to keep up and stay relevant. And before I hear the comment...
So what do you think is happening in this game? This is a question I ask people all the time when I sit up here and I say what I say. I say, what do you see with your eyes? What do you see? What's happening in front of you? Not what you want to see. What's happening in front of you? What's happening when last year these same people were complaining about the direction that Diamond Dynasty was going in, that Battle Royale and all this head-to-head stuff was going in, and that's why they left and abandoned the game, because there were certain elements that were in that card collecting game that were starting to lose its innocence. The jig is up. People are starting to see what's going on. But see, SDS does it in a very clever way. It's called deniable plausibility. Stubs have been able to be paid for in this game for a long time. It used to be used to bump up the XP for your Road to Show player. That's how you got a 99 overall, and the game just came out. Once it gravitated towards the card system, who do you think has the money to buy this stuff? How do you think these YouTubers make money with this card stuff? Why do you think they have tournaments built around this stuff and everything? Where do you think it's going? Did Madden fall down the same path? Who here remembers Madden before this generation's version? Who remembers Madden 04? Who remembers Madden 02? You didn't have none of that. If you got cards that were already in the game, they were unlockables. You could kick the longest field goal. You could unlock RFK Stadium. You could unlock a classical NFL team and stuff like that. You didn't pay for anything back then. When you bought the game, you got what you got. Now flash forward. You're playing the game right here with cards, and like most people, as I've heard before from a lot of people, they like to think that SDS is different. They're not like those other girls. They're unique. They don't hang out with those types. They're full of drama, microtransactions, and all that type of stuff. But then when you hang around this game, and you start looking at the little tactics that they pull, they're all the same. The games, I mean, they're all the same. They all pull the same exact card. They all pull the same exact joke. That they sucker you in, they give you a bunch of cards. Meanwhile, your competition over here is getting more access to it. If they can afford 500,000 stubs, they're buying that card. You can't. Is it a pay to win?
That's no. I'm not saying that Diamond Dynasty is still not far more ethical than what those games have to offer. But if you've played Madden, 2K, or FIFA, their Ultimate Team style modes at all recently, is that saying very much? And we shouldn't settle for merely being better than what is a predatory game model that those games offer. When we've seen what MLB The Show has been and what it can be, a huge...
What it can be and what it is are two different things. What do you see in front of you? What do you see in front of you? We're not focusing on what can be. We're focusing on what is. This is reality. What is. And if you think that this is better than EA and 2K and all of them combined, I got a news flash for you. There was a time where we thought 2K was better than EA. There was a time. That time has passed. 2K actually does worse now. The minute you buy the game, you have to keep buying and keep buying. Now you got to buy T-shirts. Now you got to buy shoes. Now you got to buy Gatorade. Now you got to buy Gatorade shoes. You got to buy all this crap. You don't get to eat none of it, drink none of it, or spend any of it, or wear any of it in real life. This is a digital character. A digital character which, by the way, doesn't roll over into the next game. A fool and his money shall soon part. And that's what they play on. There is no greater good or greater evil. They're all the same. SDS is not greater than. Not greater than. Once they realize and they figure out that this is how they can make money and revenue, oh, they're going to go down that path. Again, I want everybody to understand the ecosystem here. You have a game that has modes that are broken in it. Broken. Not working. What do they do every Friday? Come out with a stream about cards. XP. Is this a baseball game or is this a Final Fantasy game? Again, what do you see in front of you?
Huge issue in this year's game has been the online rewards. Take a look at what the game has to offer you if you go 10-0 flawless, which is very difficult. You get this Jonah Heim, who is a solid catcher that you could use. Not many people are. Or worse, this Andre Dawson, a 90 overall, who's not particularly good at anything. And you can see that. Nobody has used this card. And I know fans have gotten frustrated in the past about good cards being locked behind flawless packs. I think you should have a good reward if you go flawless. Again, maybe that's a hot take here. I think the card should be good. But what's interesting is with the dismantling of the Battle Royale program, making it more difficult to earn these cards, they've made them worse. Battle Royale is at its most exclusive as it's been in some time.
So how is SDS better than EA Sports and 2K? When they're using the same strategy that those other companies came out with to lure you in and to have a pay-to-win system. How are they not predatory? How are they not doing the same exact thing? Oh, because you imagined SDS to be better than EA. You imagine it. You think they can do better. You think inside your mind, this is a cope. I said this last year in a stream. I said, this is how they do it. I laid out the plan. I said, be on the lookout because it's going to happen. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. This is going to take over every single aspect of the game you play. Every mode you play coincides with Diamond Dynasty and cards. That's number one. Number two, the name of the game, and it's the same thing 2K did, was you take something that you could easily sit down and grind out by hustling and using all the resources in the game to then making it damn near nearly impossible for you to do so. So you would have no other choice but be deterred in order to go the quick and easy route. Buy lock boxes, buy loot crates, buy cards, buy all this stuff, or even buy the stubs. So you can just skip past the middleman and go and buy what you want on the thing. All the while, Mr. Deniable Plausibility rears his ugly head again. Oh, oh, I didn't know that cost 700,000. There's one over here for 40,000. Oh, here's some stubs. We accidentally just sell those. We have no purpose for that whatsoever. But you're free to use them for the cards if you want to. You can just hustle it out. Right.
It's like putting the program, and yet the cards have only gotten worse. And you could kind of say the same thing about the ranked seasons rewards. You had Martin DeHigo, which is a fun card. He can play every position in the game. He can pitch as well. I mean, he's, once again, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, but he really hasn't caught on so much. And once more, Chipper Jones, a fan favorite, one of the most popular cards year after year in Diamond Dynasty, but this one not so much because they butchered it. What has been so frustrating this year is that these high-end rewards, the World Series, the flawless rewards, are very much so not to be used by the people who are actually getting to this point. There's some clear disconnect between the people building these cards and understanding who they're for.
No, the only disconnect here in this situation is you coping with the reality that is. These people know what they're doing behind closed doors. They know that if they make a card crappy enough for you, you're going to become frustrated and you're going to want to buy the cards. Therefore, giving more life to the game. Therefore, giving a life service to the game. Same thing EA Sports does, same thing 2K does. So, Gnomes, how are they different from EA and 2K? You already are listing exactly the same thing that they're doing that EA does and 2K does. No more, no less. No different. Just the same as the sun rising in the east and settling in the west.
Because a Chipper Jones, who has 72 and 70 contact to power against righties, which, yes, he's a switch hitter. It makes his job a little bit easier, but that's not good. He has 66 clutch. He's not particularly a good defender. He has 60 speed. Besides hitting lefties, what does this card do? And you could continue to say that with the Weekend Classic rewards. Ryan Sandberg, I actually do think this is a pretty solid card. I think the fielding is kind of low for a Ryan Sandberg, which, again, it's a 91 overall card. Someone to be expected. We'll talk about that, but it's a good card, but not a great card, which you find in collections and in chase packs. So what's the point to want to be good and get these Weekend Classic rewards? Just to sell them?
Yeah, but not just sell them, my guy. You want to know what the big deal is? To buy them. That's where the bread is buttered, my boy. See, if you sit back for just 1 second and get the dogmatic view out of your head that you believe STS is better and more immaculate than any other sports game company out of here, you will actually see that they are no different. They are heading down the same path that EA headed down towards, that 2K headed down towards, that multiple game companies that deal with sports are heading down towards. Okay? It is all about spending. You buy the game, you get a couple of mid packs. Those mid packs are starter packs. So you get about 20 of them. So you get 20 crap players on there. You start to look in the marketplace. You see all the cards that you'll never get if you hustle it out. So therefore, if you do hustle it out, they're going to give you a lesser version of what you can buy if you buy the stubs. So now you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you spend money, live money, real money, for something in a game you've already purchased that doesn't supply anything that you need? Or do you sit down with time you know you don't have, belt out all this stuff that you need to do to get cards that will never be as good as the cards that are there on sale that cost 200,000 stubs? But you can do it if you spend $500 for it. It's all connected. Why do these people on YouTube do this stuff? Why do you have YouTubers who literally go out of their way in the first week or so and spend $300, $400, $500 worth of stubs? They got the money to do so. They're millionaires. They make millions off of selling this stuff to people who are young and are also people who are dumb enough to fall for this stuff. All the while, we don't tell you to buy anything. We don't have a predatory system. It's up there to get if you want to get it, but you can also earn the cards. Again, deniable plausibility. If I leave the door halfway open, guess what? You happen to walk in, you walk in. I didn't open it for you. I just accidentally left it open. Oops.
Same thing as Battle Royale and ranked seasons. If these cards aren't good enough for the people who get there, what's the point? And very much of that can be said with this Stanton card. Big name. People always love Stanton. And I'm sure he will get some play based off that namesake and the fact that he's not going for truly all that much. But for the people who are at the high difficulties, that vision won't play. 485 vision is not usable, really, on the higher difficulties of the game. And the people building these cards should know that. The people responsible for putting this card in the hands of these people who are getting this high up reward, they should understand that. I mean, they obviously...
Instead of saying should, say they do. See, the problem I have here with Gnomes is that Gnomes is using words kind of like a kid trying to believe that Santa Claus exists. Should Santa Claus exist? He should exist. How else did I get my gifts? No, you're in denial. You know the answer. You know why they make these cards this way. You know why they're doing what they're doing. They started last year. That's why they kept pushing this stuff. That's why they kept pushing all of this. Every time you saw this game, it was nothing but cards, 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 cards. They did it this year. Come on, man. What, you think they're going to screw over everybody else in every single mode, but keep yours sanctified and safe?
Get how to make very good cards. They did it with Carlos Santana, the guy that cost 500,000 stubs, all of rare round pack cards that you were never guaranteed, even 1 out of 13 required. This card is awesome. You know, this Willie Castro's pretty damn good too. He's got maxed out contact and clutch, essentially. A switch hitter with 80 speed, 80 power per side. They obviously know how to do it. They just want you to pay for it. And again, it's from
One of the most base things he said. They know what they're doing. They just want you to pay for it. So I want everyone to pay attention as this video goes on, because it's a battle. You actually hear the internal conflict this guy has within sizing everything up and starting to make sense out of everything. And this is where I'm going to tend to disagree with him on some stuff, because I'm a firm believer that if you see what you see, you're going to know what you know. If you know what you know, you're going to make the assessment and you're going to get the right answer. The only time you screw up is when you second guess what you see. Okay? They know what they're doing. They're making these cards trash. So even if you do grind them out, you're never going to get that card that's good. And they apply stubs to them. Now, How are you going to get stubs? Are you going to get stubs by playing the game? Well, you already allocated enough stubs to know that you get maybe 10 stubs here, 20 stubs there. It's never enough that's going to get you to buy that. Even the preload that they give you when you pre-order it ain't enough. So you got to buy them. Again, IGN gave this game a 9, and I asked that question then. I'm asking now. Who did they make this game for? What game did you guys play that I didn't play? Because the same game you guys are playing now is the same trash game that I played that literally showed everyone where their interest is at. Again, just to reiterate, this game is broken. Stadium Creator is broken. They literally had to shut down a mode because this feature is screwed up enough to mess up the mode itself. All the while, on a Friday, they're ushering out a dude and a woman to sell you more cards and to talk about cards and XP. For an hour and 13 minutes, they talked about nothing they did wrong in this game. No stream, no apology tour, nothing. That is your ecosystem. So would it shock you that this is the same group of people who would put up two different versions of cards and make the one in which you actually desire and the one that's the most in demand 700,000 stubs and allow that to happen? What do you think?
Frustrating because they are putting out good cards. I think this Corbin Carroll, who is the Lightning reward for the month of April, there's 5 spotlight programs you have to do to get him, which takes some time, but if you do it,
Yeah, there are some great cards, but guess what? It's behind a paywall. If it's not behind a paywall, it's behind this dungeon that you got to run through, and lava that you got to jump over, and rocks that you got to make sure you don't slip off of. And it's over there, there yonder, stuck under the fact in which you have to run across these 10 alligator heads, and don't piss them off because they might bite you and devour you. But you can still do it. It's just a lot of work.
I think you get a very good card. However, I don't think there's anybody debating that Corbin Carroll is somehow better than Carlos Santana, the guy you actually have to sink stubs in for. And that's the problem. This is not how Diamond Dynasty used to operate. They would, if anything, be on par.
Gee, Domes, I wonder why it's not the same as it used to be. You know what else is not the same as it used to be? A decent baseball game that's void of bugs. A decent baseball game that doesn't have 11 patches already and it's been out for under 2 months. Again, like I said, this is no offense to him. This is just the way our society is today. You have a whole bunch of people who are only interested in things that they're interested in. And when the things that they're interested in starts coming down and looking like trash to them, that's when they start opening up their eyes. But this video was made a day ago. This game has been like this since last year. Need I remind people, this game this year released with a whole Stadium Creator not working. Co-ops didn't work. Uniforms messed up. Audio screwed up. Hits not working. Bat stances not working. Weird glitches like people turning into T-shapes walking across the room. All that stuff happened. Why in the world would you think your mode is untouched when people in your community are the ones who enabled this monster to grow the way that it is? So when you see people out there on YouTube with their weird O faces, including the dude with the big red beard who spent $500 on this stuff, next time you see them, tell them thank you, because people like them are the reason why that mode is made in the way that it is. And what way is it, I say? The same way you said was different from Madden and 2K.
Pack content never took over the game. There was good cards in packs, but it wasn't the pace setter. right now, when we're in this power creep, 93 overall Willie Castro, that sets the mark. And that is exactly how all those other FIFA 2K, Madden, whatever else have you,